Newton's laws of motion. So first law of motion.
Sir, आपकी वॉइस क्लियरली नहीं आ रही।
Okay, first law of motion. According to first law, a body continues to be in its state of rest or of uniform motion along a straight line, unless it is acted upon by some unbalanced external force to change that state. So that is the first law. And the second law of motion. So I'll just first give you the statement. The statement of second law of motion is the rate of change of linear momentum is directly proportional to the external force applied on the body. External unbalanced force applied on the body. And this change takes place in the direction of the applied force. And the third law, according to the third law, to every action there is always an equal and opposite reaction. Equal and opposite reaction to every action. Okay, so these are the statements of Newton's first law, second law, and third law. So what actually means first law? Whenever a body is at rest, unless and until you apply a force, the body will not move. So body at rest, it will remain at rest, but it will start moving only if you apply a force. Without any application of the force, the body will not move. And if a body is already moving in a particular direction, it will keep on moving with a uniform speed along the same direction, along the straight line, as long as no force is applied on the body. So if you want to change the speed of the body or you want to bring it to rest, you have to apply a force in the opposite direction. And third, body cannot change on its own the direction of motion. The body is moving like this and you want it to turn it like this, then you have to apply a force perpendicular to the direction of motion of the body. So without the application of the force, you cannot change its direction. So you can feel this force if you suppose you have a string tied to your hand and a stone is being whirled around, and then you can because the natural tendency of the body is to move along a straight line, but you're making it move along a circular path. A force will be experienced by the hand, by your hand, and that is the force that is keeping this body in circular motion. So that is Newton's first law. Now Newton's second law defines force. So we can define force with we can get the expression definition of force from Newton's first law. So first law defines force. So according to Newton's first law, force is an external effort This we have already discussed in the form of a push or a pull, which moves or tries to move a body at rest, stops or tries to stop a body in motion, changes or tries to change the direction of motion of the body. So we can define force. Only force when it is applied can change the state of motion of the object, and otherwise the state of the object will not change. So that is what Newton's first law says. Unless and until some external force is applied, the body at rest continues to be at rest, and body in motion, in uniform motion along a straight line, continues to be in uniform motion along a straight line. So from this we get the definition for force. Definition of force. Now first law also defines inertia. So all these terms you are already familiar with. So you remember the statement of first law. So what is inertia? Inertia is the inability. It is the inability of a body to change itself. It's changed by itself. Its state of rest state of rest or state of motion, or rather uniform motion. State of rest or uniform motion along a straight line. Okay. So it is the inability of the body to change out on its own its state of rest or uniform motion along a straight line, unless until some external effort is applied. So body at rest remains at rest. So that also comes from the first law of motion. So that means if a body is at rest, it opposes any change in its state. So if an external force is applied, the body will oppose that effort, external force. It will try to remain in the state in which it is already there. So inertia of a body is measured by the mass of the body. We know if a body is of smaller mass and there's a body of larger mass, okay, once again, there's a body A and body B. Body A is of smaller mass, body B is of larger mass. Now you apply a force F on body A as well as on body B, same force, equal force. You will find that this opposition to change its state from body A will be less than the opposition from body B. Why? Because mass of the body B is more than mass of body A. So mass of the body is basically the cause of inertia in the body. So quantitatively, inertia of the body in linear motion is measured by the mass of the body. So mass in linear motion is equal to the inertia in the body, quantitatively. Now inertia is of three types, and those three types are the inertia of rest, inertia of motion, and inertia of direction. So types of inertia: inertia of rest, inertia of motion, inertia of direction. So already you are familiar with this. So I would want like you to go through all these statements and with the examples. So just go through all these because these are all you are familiar with. So I'll just tell you one. So inertia of rest is the inability of a body to change by itself its state of rest. Okay. So here we're talking about the body at rest. So body at rest will remain at rest and cannot start moving on its own. This is called inertia of rest. Now here the body in motion, in uniform motion, will remain in uniform motion and will oppose any change. That is called inertia of motion. And the inertia of direction is the inability of the body inertia of direction. This statement is the inability of the body to change by itself its state of change by itself its direction is called the inertia of direction. So direction will change only if the body is compelled by some external force to change its direction. Now we shall discuss the explanation of Newton's second law. You go through your book for examples on all this. Explanation of Newton's second law. So what is second law? The rate of change of linear momentum of a body is directly proportional to the external force applied on the body. And this change takes place always in the direction of the applied force. Suppose there are two bodies of different masses. Suppose mass of one body is m1 and the second is m2, and both are at rest, and a fixed amount of force applied on the body is suppose F. Okay. Then after a certain time interval, both for a certain time interval t, then the lighter body, or we'll see that the lighter body will pick up So when a force is applied for a particular time interval on both the bodies, the force applied is same, equal. Then we see that the lighter body picks up speed faster than the heavier body. So that means, but the bodies will have the same linear momentum after that period of time. इसकी स्पीड ज़्यादा होगी, इसकी स्पीड कम पिकअप करेगी, लेकिन after this time interval the linear momentum, that is P, in both cases will be same. So P1 will be equal to P2. Okay, the force, if the force applied is equal, the change in linear momentum will also be equal. Okay, so same force applied for the same time causes the same change in linear momentum in bodies of different masses. That is the result we get. So once again, इसकी velocity हो जाएगी v1, इसकी velocity हो जाएगी v2 after time t. ये velocity ज़्यादा होगी, ये velocity कम होगी क्योंकि इसका मास ज़्यादा है. लेकिन जब हम इसका मोमेंटम निकालेंगे दोनों का, तो दोनों का मोमेंटम क्या होगा, बराबर होगा. ओके, इसका मास ज़्यादा है, इसका वेलोसिटी कम होगा, इसका मास कम है, इसका वेलोसिटी ज़्यादा होगा. सो दैट द मोमेंटम इज सेम एंड बिकॉज द फोर्स इज सेम. सो अगर फोर्स हमने एक ही लगाई है दो बॉडीज पे, तो उन दोनों में चेंज मोमेंटम जो होगा वो सेम होगा. So if a larger force is applied on a body, the linear momentum will change faster, and if a smaller force is applied on the body, the linear momentum will change at a slow rate. Now suppose, let us get the expression for force. Now suppose m is the mass of the body and v is the velocity of the body. So mass of the body is m, and the velocity of the body is say v, vector quantity, and the linear momentum is given by mv. Okay, so if F is the force applied on the body, okay, in the direction of motion of the body, and delta P is the change, small change in linear momentum of the body. Okay, once again, a body of mass m, suppose it is already moving with some velocity u, velocity v, and momentum will be given by P is equal to mv. Force F is applied, a small change in momentum occurs, and the linear momentum is changed to a very small quantity in time, say delta t. So we are applying a force for a time interval of delta t. So therefore rate of change of momentum is equal to delta p upon delta t. So rate of change of momentum is delta p upon delta p. Now according to Newton's law, this rate of change of momentum, Newton's second law, is directly proportional to the applied force, or we can say that the force applied is directly proportional to the rate of change of linear momentum of the body. So F is directly proportional to delta P upon delta T, or F is equal to K delta P upon delta T, where K is the constant of proportionality. Now let us take delta T approach 0. So as delta T approaches 0, so as delta t approaches 0, delta p upon delta t becomes the first derivative of p with respect to time. So dp by dt, because delta t approaches 0. And limit, we take a limit when delta t approaches 0. So therefore f will become k dp divided by dt, or rather dp by dt, rate of change of p with respect to time t. Now put the value of p equal to k ddt of mv, so is equal to k m dv by dt. Now what is dv by dt? It is the rate of change of velocity, which is acceleration. So k ma. So F is equal to kma, and the units are chosen of force, mass, and acceleration in such a way that k is equal to 1. So this implies F is equal to ma, and in magnitude F is equal to ma. So force vector so force is equal to mass into acceleration. So force is a vector quantity like acceleration, because acceleration is a vector quantity. So magnitude of force can be calculated by multiplying mass of the body and the acceleration produced in it. So second law gives the a measure of force. So first law gives the definition of force. Second law gives the measure of force. So quantity of force we can get from the second law. Now we shall talk about dimensions and units of force. So we have already done this derivation in class 9 also. So dimensions and units of force. You know F is equal to ma in magnitude. Now F, this means m, and this acceleration is lt minus 2. So it becomes m l1 t minus 2. Okay, what that is? MLT minus 2. So that is the dimension. Now units of force are of two types. One is absolute and second is gravitational.